What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been a little AFK here for a bit, been a little sick, lost my voice, but back trying to make some videos again on Marvel Snap. And what a time to make some videos. Brand new patch drop today, and we have some very exciting things. But I'm going to cover one deck that's really kind of an archetype of decks. So I'm going to show you two different variations of the same deck, but realistically there's way more than that. People kind of have been calling it Wongoing. It's an ongoing Wong deck. I've seen that name floating around. Pretty funny name. So I'll go with it. So here's the first version, and really the core of the deck is Wong. So he's a 4-cost 2. Ongoing, your on-reveal abilities at this location happen twice. That's the core of it. But normally you run him with a lot of on-reveal effects. So you can really impactfully affect the game with multiple on-reveal effects. But in this list, we're actually only running Spectrum, who on reveal gives your ongoing cards +2 power. So we run Spectrum and Wong, and the rest of our cards are all ongoing cards. It is quite a powerful list. I know it looks a little wonky, might be a little bit curious at how it actually functions, but I promise you it functions very well. I grinded this list a bit and got to rank 60, which isn't that high, but typically myself, I don't play one deck for more than a couple games, but this one I was finding a lot of fun, so I played it a lot. Got quickly up to that. I'll probably try to push it to at least 70 to get that variant, but let me break down the rest of the deck. So like I said, those two combined with a bunch of ongoing cards. So I'm using things like Ant-Man, who will be in a position where there's 4 units, ideally with Mojo, who ongoing, if both players have 4 cards at this location, +6 power, which is pretty crazy. And then we fill it in with some other generic, ongoing effects. Armor is a good one from the early pulls. Colossus, really solid. Lizard, all these are just really solid cards that are ongoing and cheap and have good power stats and just some other good flexibility. So Lizard's a 5 power at locations where your opponent isn't full, so he's a really good one to play at a weaker under attacked location, so you can have a really good board swing there. Armor can shut down destroy decks or protect some of your units, so that's great. Then we move to the 3-drops. I'm using Mr. Fantastic, who will boost adjacent locations, which is great. The Punisher, who himself can be a pretty large power by placing him at a location where the opponent is heavily attacking. Then we got Captain America, who will buff the other units on our spot. You know, a lot of times you see Captain America in decks that are running a lot more units, like Zoo-type decks, but he still works really well here. Obviously Wong and Spectrum, but then I rock Namor in the 4 slot, so ongoing again. Obviously, this is kind of the goal here is I'm going to have one souped up location somewhere that's going to have, you know, Mojo, Captain America, etc. And then I'm going to have Namor at a side location if I draw Namor. He's going to be a 10 solo power, somewhere over there. And the mid location then typically would end up being like Mr. Fantastic, Wong, Spectrum, something like that. I'd have a cheap location, some middle location, and then a final hit him with the Wong Spectrum. But again, you're not going to hit that combo every game. Even just Spectrum is good. And then Claw as the last, who is just fantastic at winning side locations. Put him down. He's a 4 power right away. And then 6 power to the right, which is super solid. Spectrum can boost his own power. Crazy good card here. A lot of fun synergy here. I will say you don't want to play Wong unless you already have Spectrum. Like just playing Wong and hoping you're going to draw on the Spectrum is not the best bet unless you're desperate. If you don't have Wong, just kind of try to win the game with your other cards, which are totally capable of doing. You can win a lot of weird locations with Mr. Fantastic and Claw, and then Namor. But if you don't have Wong, Spectrum is still great. Still probably the best 6-drop you could play in this deck. Yeah, you could try Onslaught to double an ongoing effect. It's cute, it's funny, but since we're running all ongoing cards, Spectrum seriously just boosts the entire board. Well, you might be thinking, well, there's a lot more ongoing cards that I could have included. Why didn't you include this or that, etc.? Or say you're maybe like a couple of my friends who aren't in Pool 3 yet or aren't that deep in the Pool 3 and they don't have things like Mojo or Wong. Plenty of other cards you could fill these in with, and I won't go through specifics of what I would replace here and there. I'm just going to give you a second version of the deck. I'm just calling it Wongoing 2. So I'm using some other cards. Some are the same, some aren't. So I'm here using Ant-Man still, but then I'm using Ebony Maw, who's kind of a cheeky one. He's got an ongoing effect, even though it's a negative effect. It's still an ongoing effect, so dropping him on like turn 3 at a mostly full location is really good. Invisible Woman is a really funny one, but there's a lot of synergy that you need to play around. Anti-synergy, I should say. So if she is whatever the word is, hiding the units that are at this location, and you play Spectrum at a different location, she actually won't boost the units underneath Invisible Woman because they're not revealed until the game ends. So Spectrum would get revealed on turn 6 first, and then Invisible Woman would reveal the rest of her board, and then they won't receive that buff. But you can get around that by just playing Spectrum at Invisible Woman's location. So it's kind of insane when you have Invisible Woman, then you put Wong, and then you put Spectrum behind it, and all of a sudden they think they're winning a couple locations to the right, but everything gets +4 across your board. That gets super wild. So Invisible Woman's really fun, but again, a pull 3 card that you don't have to have. I got Mojo in this one as well. You could easily take that out and just kind of stick with your Armor, Colossus, Lizard if you wanted to. I'm rocking Fantastic and the Punisher, and then I'm rocking Cosmo, who on reveal abilities won't happen at this location. Again, we just run Spectrum for on reveals, so make sure you don't play her where Cosmo is. So this a little bit more of a brain challenge on Wongoing 2 for me. You got to make sure you're not playing Spectrum in weird spots, especially on top of Cosmo or outside of Invisible Woman. So those two you got to be careful of, but Cosmo really shuts down other people's on reveal decks, so he's super solid and worth a slot anyway. Then, of course, Wong and Spectrum, but Professor X is a super fun add in here. Kind of functions a little bit like Namor, so Namor tries to take a location, win it himself. Well, Professor X kind of can do that a little bit more consistently because he can just shut that location down, and then you boost it with, you know, Mr. Fantastic and Spectrum. You could also put Claw in this deck if you wanted to. Maybe drop one of the 2-drops or something. You could add Claw back in to really try to win that Professor X location. Lots of different ways to do it, and this is just some examples of how I'm showing multiple different ongoing variations of this deck. It might be a blend between the two of them that you really want, but I think there's a really solid archetype here with these two lists, and I think there's even more ongoing cards in the game that I don't have yet that should definitely be in. One that I know I don't have, just off the top of my head, because I don't know every card in the game yet, because I haven't really spoiled myself fully, but one that 100% I would put in because I've seen it is Goose, the cat. He's like a 2-drop 2/2. No one can play a 4, 5, or 6 cost card at that location. He's incredible. He would be an absolutely amazing add for this ongoing style deck because you can essentially just play him where you have Ant-Man and a couple other 2 and 3 drops, and then just worry about adding Wong and Spectrum to a side location. It really helps you win that location because now they can't play big things. Goose is absolutely incredible. Things to watch out for when you're playing against this deck or when you're playing this deck yourself, though. And again, I'll show you both versions if you're playing either one. If you're playing this deck, be careful of the giant Enchantress plays. So Enchantress can be super powerful. So she, on reveal, removes the abilities from all ongoing cards at this location. So that can just completely devastate you if you have a huge board. Say they shut off Claw and Mr. Fantastic, and all of a sudden you thought you were winning side locations, but now you're not. Can be absolutely devastating. So be really careful of Enchantress. If she does get dropped and it really does affect you, it's again, she's going to remove the abilities, so even Spectrum later won't add +2 power to the cards that she removed the abilities from. So probably retreat if they drop Enchantress on a packed location. I mean, you can still win a couple games, you know, see what's happening, but huge play there is getting all of your stuff removed. So be very careful of that. And the other one is Rogue, who I don't have, but I've seen a couple times. She like steals one ongoing ability from somebody. That can be pretty annoying, but not nearly as annoying as Enchantress shutting down all of your ongoing abilities. And one more final note before I leave you guys with just this video, and I'm not going to show gameplay today just because I'm showing 2 decks. It's been a long video already. Mystique is really good for this deck as well. So Mystique copies a previous ongoing ability that you played there. So like copying Mr. Fantastic or something like that is really solid. I also don't have Mystique. Just another example to show you that this game and this deck has a lot of different options with ongoing. So play around with it, try it out. I think it's probably one of the strongest decks I've played so far. Also, just one of the most fun I've had with. So I would highly suggest checking it out yourselves. Give it a go. Try the deck. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below what we want to see next. I'll be trying to pump up videos for the rest of this week to make up for all the ones I've missed. I appreciate you guys sticking with the channel anyway. Subscribe. We're almost at 1,000. That's our goal, trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm at like 830 as of recording this, so I really appreciate that. That's been awesome to see. Keep it coming, and I will catch you in the next video. Keep on snapping.